What is going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast. And on this broadcast, we're going to be bantering about our top 10 second basemen right now. MLB Network does this countdown each and every single season. And today I'm going to be giving you my top 10 second basemen. So we begin with number 10. Now, number 10 on my list is Jazz Chisholm Jr. of the Miami Marlins. When you look at what this player can be, this to me is the most interesting and exciting man in baseball. When you look at the flair, the passion that this player plays with, there's no doubt about it that this is an interesting cat. And being able to go into the season with health is going to be the biggest factor, the biggest key for Jazz Chisholm Jr. But when you go in and you look at what he's going to be able to do for the Marlins, yes, there's not going to be a lot of protection in and around him in that lineup, but he's still going to be able to go out there and provide some entertainment for the fans of the Miami Marlins. And then when you look, if he is healthy in 2023, to me, this is a player that could easily push his way up further on this top 10 list. Now, number 9 on my list is Ozzie Albies of the Atlanta Braves. Now, what you're going to notice in the first half of this list for me is a lot of guys with potential who have been hurt by injuries either last season or the past couple of seasons, and Ozzie is one of those guys. I think that when you look at what he is capable of doing, this is a player that absolutely can produce a WAR season of over 3. He's projected for that according to Fangraphs, Steamer's projections. When you look at the fact that he was only limited to 64 games, yes, it dropped him underneath the league average 100 OPS plus. But over the course of his career, this has been a solid major league player, arguably one of the best second basemen in Major League Baseball. I also think that if he is healthy over the course of 145, 150 games, this is a guy who's going to be able to produce and climb right back up towards the top end of this top 10 second baseman list right now for 2023. Now, as we look at number 8 on my list, it is Jeff McNeil of the New York Mets. 2022 was a bounce back campaign for McNeil. In 2022, he would post an OPS plus of 140, and that was coming off of a down season of only an OPS plus of 87 in 2021. When you look at what this player does for the New York Mets lineup, it's a different look, a different style player, but a guy you can post in the top half, middle half of the order, and really know that he is going to provide you with serious production coming out of the middle of that lineup. I also think that for a guy like Jeff McNeil, sometimes his versatility can kind of go against him, but I think for the Mets, with the way that their roster is shaping up, this is going to be their everyday second baseman, and when he's playing every day, he posts and provides a ton of production value for the New York Mets, and therefore he is on the top 10 list of the top 10 second basemen right now. As we look at the number 7 player on my list, it is Jorge Polanco of the Minnesota Twins. When you look at Polanco, again, a guy who was kind of derailed a little bit by injuries, only played in 104 games in 2022, but still posted an OPS plus of 117, 16 home runs, 56 RBIs. If Polanco can prove that he is healthy in 2023, he's going to exceed those numbers, in my opinion. I think that this is an underrated player, and he has some potential and ability that, if he can stay healthy, is really going to be able to produce for a Minnesota Twins lineup that is looking to get back to the top of that American League Central Division. Now, again, we continue on our list here with the number 6 pick, and it is Brandon Lowe of the Tampa Bay Rays. Lowe, like many of the others that have come before him on this list, was beset by injuries in 2022, playing just 65 games. But the prior season, in 2021, Lowe would post an OPS plus of 140, 39 home runs, 99 RBIs. This is a game-changing middle-of-the-order bat for the Tampa Bay Rays, and they really felt that lack of power, that lack of production when they lost him for the majority of 2022. So getting back a healthy Brandon Lowe in 2023 will give the Rays a bit more pop in the middle of their order than what they had this past season. I think that this is a game-changing bat in the lineup for Tampa Bay, and they desperately needed him back. This year, 2023, healthy Brandon Lowe could easily come in much higher on this list. Now, as we get to the number 5 player on my list, it is Nico Horner of the Chicago Cubs. With the acquisition of Dansby Swanson, Nico is going to be shifting over to second base. This is a super plus defender all around the infield, and no doubt about it, he's going to bring that over to second base with him. When you look, Nico in 2022 had 10 home runs, 55 RBIs, posted an OPS plus of 107. And when you pair that with the super plus defense that he offers, this is a tremendous player to have in your middle infield. Again, championships are said to be won by pitching and defense and having a strong middle core up the middle with your shortstop, your second base, your center field, and of course your catcher. So for the Cubs, having a strong middle infield combination in Dansby Swanson and Nico Horner is really going to bode well for them in 2023. If Dansby can kind of go alongside Nico, really start to show him the ropes a little bit, and Nico really picks that up in 2023 and boosts his offensive game, this is going to be one of the very best players in Major League Baseball, not just limited to second base. Now, number 4 on my list, it is Gleyber Torres of the New York Yankees. When you look at what Torres can provide offensively when he doesn't have to think about defense, this is a very strong candidate for one of the best second basemen in all of baseball. I think that when you look at the offensive campaign that he put together, and yes, there were some low parts for Gleyber Torres during the 2022 campaign, but overall, 4.1 WAR, B WAR according to BaseballReference.com, 114 is his OPS plus with 24 home runs, 76 RBIs. And when you look at what he's going to be for the New York Yankees, this is going to be a pivotal bat in the middle of the order. Kind of that 5-6 hole is where I'm projecting him to be in the Yankees lineup. And with the way that he has played league average defense at second base, which is not a knock, being able to be an adequate defender that is not hurting your team defensively, plus giving them a better than average offense, which is what Gleyber does, is really a very, very good position for him and the New York Yankees to be in. When you look and you compare Torres' defense as league average at second base, but he was -8 outs above replacement, outs above average in the 2021 campaign as a shortstop. There's no doubt about it that this is a player that by playing at second base, not having to really think as much about his defense, is really going to be put in a much better position to succeed and therefore help his team to succeed much better. Therefore, Gleyber Torres number 4 on my list of the top 10 second basemen right now. And number 3 on my list is Andres Gimenez of the Cleveland Guardians. Gimenez in 2022 would post an OPS plus of 141 with a baseball reference WAR, a B WAR of 7.4, 17 home runs, 69 RBIs, a slash line of 279, 371, 466 with 12 outs above average. When you pair Gimenez with the perennial MVP candidate that is Jose Ramirez, you give a dynamic 1-2 punch to the Cleveland Guardians, who are trying to hold off the Minnesota Twins and Chicago White Sox in what is a weaker division, in my opinion. I think that when you look at what this player does and the skill set that he has, when you pair him with a guy like Jose Ramirez, it really makes the Cleveland Guardians a much bigger threat. I also think that as he continues to mature, continues to kind of grow into his game, he's only going to get better. And that's a scary proposition to a guy who put up an OPS plus season of 141 in 2022. So if he can only go up from here, this is a very good starting point at number 3 on my list of the top 10 second basemen right now. Now, number 2 on my list of the top 10 second basemen right now is Marcus Semien of the Texas Rangers. When the Rangers acquired him last offseason, it was seen as a very curious move. The amount of money spent on he and Corey Seager was absolutely crazy to think about. But when you look at the production over the past 2 seasons, right? 7.3 and 5.9 B WAR, baseball reference WAR, over the past 2 seasons. And yes, it started out a little bit rough in 2022, but they really started to figure it out. Semien really started to put it together. When you look at what he has been over the past 2 seasons alone, Semien has hit 71 home runs, driven in 185 RBIs over the past 2 seasons. This has been one of the most productive middle infield bats in a very long time, especially when you look and you signal it out to 2021 and 2022. Going into 2023, there's very little question that if he can continue this level of production, this has been one of the most productive at-bats, most productive second baseman in Major League Baseball. Now, say what you will, but the number one second baseman in all of Major League Baseball is still Jose Altuve. Whether you or not you believe everything that surrounded them and him in the 2017, potentially 2018, 2019 seasons with any of the sign stealing information, whatever, Jose Altuve has proven himself to be a consistent threat each and every time he steps into the batter's box. When you look at what he has been over the 2022 campaign, let's just single it out to that. A OPS plus of 160, a slash line of 300, 385, 533, 29 home runs, 57 RBIs, 18 stolen bases, and a baseball reference WAR of 5.1. Altuve is now going to be entering his age 33 season. So it's not going to be an easy thing for him to be able to do to replicate these numbers with some of the younger crop that is coming up. But there's no signs that he is slowing down right now. And whether or not you think that there's something more to it, you have to just be in awe of what this player has been able to do, especially when you start to compare statures. Obviously, Jose is one of the shorter players in Major League Baseball, but one of the biggest bats and presences in the lineup, making him the number one second baseman in all of Major League Baseball. So I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your top 10 second basemen right now down in the comments, or you can find me over on Twitter at banter_baseball, where we can keep the conversation rolling as to who your picks are for the top 10 right now at each position. And today we're discussing, namely, the second base position. But I want to thank you guys. Keep it locked in by hitting the subscribe button and the bell for post notifications as we continue to try to grow this baseball community. We just hit the 500 subscribers mark, so thank you very much if you are one of them. If you're not, join with us as we continue to try to grow this baseball family here on the Baseball Banter Broadcast. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Keep it locked in all off season long as we continue to look at the latest news, notes, and my personal thoughts, theories, and opinions on the game of Major League Baseball. Peace.